So we're nearing the end of 9 nights devoted to the Divine Mother, Navaratri. It's a Vedic celebration, and this opportunity to dig in with guidance from these divine feminine archetypes I find really, really comforting always, but there's a particular flavor this time in human history when we are in quarantine and there's so much life force energy begging to be expressed. And what these wisdom goddesses have taught me is how our need to express can really get warped and come out sideways and be fear-mongering and disruptive rather than creating more coherence. And, particularly with this tool called social media, we're seeing a lot of information, and I'm just wondering if you are feeling, if you're able to sense in your body what is true and what is not. And I want to illustrate in a way that I hope is simple and impart a little bit of a practice or an invocation to support each of us in becoming a little more coherent within ourselves. How these divine feminine archetypes instruct us in being with reality in a way that is medicinal. And you're welcome to go back and watch the other videos that I've made relative to this topic. The first being Kali, Ma Kali, who is ferocious. She is fierce. She is, darkness and destruction in a way. But destruction of what? Destruction of the ego identity, destruction of the part of ourselves that is very much concerned with what everyone else sees and interprets. That is the ego identity. And Kali is the force of nature within us all that is capable of complete and total destruction, but there's another word that I want to use. I guess I'll use release. Complete and total release of these tethers that are ego identified. And so my renewed experience of her is this thunderbolt of knowing that I needed to be sober, and the awareness of how all of my self-destructive tendencies was that ego identification, being so concerned. What are people going to think? What do people think? Which drove self-destructive behavior. So one of my teachers, Sally Kempton, she refers to Kali as the experience of just being stripped naked and exposed to the reality of your life, my life, this human existence. It's quite uncomfortable. However, in the words of Ramakrishna, which of course I'm paraphrasing because I never heard him speak, the very well-known devotee of Kali, only those who are unwilling to see the truth find Kali terrifying. So it definitely has taken practice and takes practice to get to a point where reality doesn't make us flip out and project blame and fault outside of ourselves. We can take responsibility for how we are in the world and continue moving forward in a way that is relatively stable. And that propels us to the Shakti of Goddess Lakshmi, who is the quality of receptivity and nourishment, being nourished and being well fed and in pleasure with reality as it is, based on how we steer our focus. So whenever you turn towards something, you're turning your back on something else. So, the world seems to be turning their attention toward the Tiger King. I almost refuse to watch this documentary, but I know I'll cave. But that's just sort of a funny thing that I'm observing, like turning your attention towards that as a, protective measure, turning your attention away from something else, right? Like the insane news. But what really is calling your attention so that you can actually be fed in some way by this experience and this turn of events in our collective history. And the in this 9-day celebration of the Divine Feminine, the culmination point, the arrival, is with Saraswathi. Saras means to flow, and Saraswathi is generally regarded as the goddess of intellect and wisdom and creative expression, voice and truth-telling. And there's something very, very pure about Saraswathi. She's described as being the color of moonlight, and on the one hand, it can be kind of this pristine, almost aloof energy, depending on how you're interpreting it. But if you've gone through this process of internal investigation and you've experienced the searing heat of Kali and done the work of Lakshmi, it's work, it's like harvest. That's hard work. It's labor to harvest your crops in order to have this abundant, beautiful meal. And when you are well fed and stabilized by your relationship to reality, then what you speak and share can only be the clearest expression of truth. Remember, Vishuddha, which is the Sanskrit word for the fifth chakra, the throat chakra, chakra means most pure. So it's like crystal clear water. It's not without humanity. It's not somehow above the earth, but it is clarified. The purest water is that water which is filtered through rock and stone and sand. So I am taking a lot of comfort in online Gaga classes and the business mastermind that I'm a part of, as well as my friends' offerings of online yoga and prayer, singing songs to the Divine Feminine. And so I'd love to do that with you if you're still listening and watching. Rather than chanting an invocation to Saraswati, because there is actually her Gayatri mantra, I actually can't remember. So I'm not going to share that with you. But what feels to me to be the best offering to organize all of these teachings is the Isha Upanishad. This is full. That, whatever you're turning away from, that is also full. If you remove what is full from full, what remains is still full. You are complete. Your experience is whole. Organize yourself to receive the fullness of your life. And if you can sit comfortably or lay down in a way that imparts the experience of being totally supported, I encourage you to do that. And we can take a couple of slow breaths together, experiencing for yourself these first 3 rounds of breath. The inhale is a down and in movement, and resist the temptation to get forceful about it. Just allow for the subtlety of penetration from the nourishment that is inhale. And allow the exhale to impart a feeling of levity, even if you experience that just in like the tip of your nose or the hair on your head feels light. And for these next 30 seconds or so, bring your awareness fully to the bottom half of your jaw and imagine or sense its weight. Can keep your lips touching or they might fall apart initially. Just bring full focus to the reality of this bone. And as we chant, you'll chant along or hum along or listen. See if you can keep the bottom half of the jaw soft and weighted in space, allowing sort of the internal structure of you to make this articulation of sound. One Om all together, and then moving right into the mantra if you know it. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Thank you all.